What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Blades and Bait. Anyway, back in December, I spotted a couple of knives. A couple of front flipper knives that catches my eye. After using it for a while, I do admit that one, not only I would highly recommend, but I think it also deserves your attention. Yeah, so let's take a closer look, see what we have. So, once it comes to front flipper knives, some people like them, others don't. I've always been a big fan of them. Take for example, this one right here. This one is technically my first front flipper knife that I ever have. This one is made by CRKT. This is your CRKT Convergence. Good all-around utility knife. This has been discontinued many years ago, and I did put it to use for a while actually, and it definitely have that intimidation factor to scare off your office snowflakes. But unlike many knives that you see, this one I also have an additional side flipper too. That is pretty cool, isn't it? Of course, we're not going to be talking about this. Instead, we're going to be talking something that's a little bit more dainty, a little bit more refined, and something that have a little bit more class. Back in December, I found a couple of knives that I thought was really cool looking. In fact, the first one that arrived was this one. This is also made by CRKT. And but as you can see, it is a lot more refined. It looks very elegant. This is your CRKT Symmetry. Isn't that cool looking, folks? Of course, I don't know why they call it Symmetry, because as you can see, it's not quite symmetrical. This is more asymmetrical than anything else, but I do like it. It have that very elegant and just a nice refined look. I like the GRN, the glass reinforced nylon handles on it. I like the pattern that it have, almost like your fiber carbon look to it, even though it's not. Plus you have this blue anodized screws that's in here. You have your open backing, and on the other side you also have this deep carry pocket clip. It is fastened with 2 anodized screws. You also have your lanyard at the bottom. One thing for sure, it definitely have the look and the feel of your more higher end knife. However, I don't think the full retail price of $50 actually justifies the cost. This one comes with your satin finish, more of a flat ground edge. Yes, it have your HCR13 MOV steel. Wow. But of course, for your everyday light duty task, it shouldn't be an issue. Also, it also comes with your IKBS bearing systems, which just makes it so nice and buttery smooth. Very snappy. But as you can see, unlike the others, this one is actually a slip joint. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but this one does have double detents. It's basically you have 2 ball bearings on one on both sides here. And the nice thing about it, it is fairly compact too. Overall length on it is only about 6.5 inches, and you have a handle length. The handle length is about 3 3/4 inches. The blade itself is roughly 2 3/4 inch. So again, it falls within that guideline of what's legal and not. So the CRKT Symmetry, good option to have. If you can find it at a price point between $30 to $40, then it's worth it. So if you're looking for a knife that's slim and compact, office friendly, something that you can take to work without raising some eyebrows, a good gentleman's, well, maybe a lady's knife, I think the CRKT Symmetry will be a good choice for you. However, the next knife that I'm about to show you is very practical, very useful, and personally, I think it is probably one of the best front flipper knives that I have and used so far. See, just a little history. This one is called a Texas toothpick. This one is made by Kiss and Crane. I do like the semi-precious gemstones that's inside for the inlays. Have your brass bolsters. But the main thing is that when you open it up, you have this very narrow, thin, and pointy little blade. Surprisingly, it was this type of knife that was used back in the 1800s and into the 1900s by trappers, fishermen, and as well as hunters. Why? Because the nice thing about this blade, since it's so narrow and thin, it allows you to access and allow you to be a little bit more precise in the work that you're doing. But of course, we're not going to be talking about this one. We're going to be talking about this little guy. When I first spotted it, I thought it was really cool. And I have been using this off and on a daily basis for the past month or so, and I absolutely love it. When you received your knife, it came in this nice looking case, and until of course you open it up. You open it up and you look at it, and it looks rather dull and boring. It comes with this micarta handle with a texture that makes you itch the moment that you even set eyes on it. Plus, you have this brownish, greenish color that almost reminds you of a dried up goose turd. Don't worry, this does come in a couple different options. There's one that's black and there's one that's purple. And the only reason I end up choosing this one is because, well, at the time, this one was the only one that was on sale for $55, while the others still sells for about $60 to $70. So, from aesthetic aside, this one is your Civivi Clavi. You notice there's a nice, long, slender, and thin blade. It's a very pointy Warncliffe, or from the spine it just tapers all the way down to a point that's almost like a needle. And it does come with this razor edge. This comes with your Nitro V steel, which is in a comparison to pretty much like an S30V or S35VN steel. And the nice thing about it, since the blade is so thin and slicey, it allows you to access some of the more tight spaces that you typically can't access with your standard knife. You have your open spacing, and at the bottom, you have two barrel spacers right here. You have this clip that's almost like a pen clip, and in fact, if you put it in your front pocket, most people will think it is probably just a pen. But the nice thing about this is that this one actually have a small recess where the clip sits in. Even if the screws does come loose, it's not going to wobble or move so much. And the best part about it, it is interchangeable. You can switch this clip from this side over to this side if you want. You have a small jimping right here on the liner itself, but the nice thing about it is sits in there just right where you can just press down on it using your thumb. It also comes with your ceramic ball bearing pivots, which just makes it so snappy and smooth. Very fidgety too, if I might add. And plus it is lightweight. It is compact. Let's just see on how big this knife is. Looks like your overall length is only about 6 3/4 inches. You have a handle length of roughly about 3 3/4 inch, and you have a cutting edge of about 2 3/4 inches. So a fairly small knife. In fact, compare this to your CRKT. As you can see, it is a little bit smaller. And what about the CRKT Symmetry? About the same size as the Clavi. You do have a slight jimping on the spine and a little bit at the base. Which, the nice thing about it, it allows you to not only put your finger, rest your finger right here and just choke up on it, you can also pinch grip it and use it more or less like an X-Acto knife. It is such a pleasure using this knife. Absolutely love it. And I will highly recommend this knife to anyone. This is by far one of the best front flipper knives that I had the pleasure of using. This is your Civivi Clavi. Anyway, that's about it for me today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please smash that like and leave your comments down below. Consider subscribing for some more knives, fishing, and kit videos. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you later.